What's going on, Felters? The boys are back for our Week 16 predictions. Joining me tonight is my co-host, Reagan Loescher, and a friend of the program, Mr. Nick Walmart. Fellas, how we doing?
Feeling dangerous, fellas. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
I'm doing very good tonight. I'm ready to talk some ball. Let's get some people into the fantasy championships, all right? Starting today. You know, listen to those moves, make them happen. I mean, I know he was saying Sincere McCormick was going to be a league winner, but, you know, he got put on IR. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter. We'll find you some other league winners because there's a lot of injuries, so a lot of running backs to be picked up.
Ton of injuries, ton of quarterbacks getting benched here. We're going to start off with the Falcons officially benching Kirk Cousins and starting number 8 overall pick, Michael Penix Jr. Crazy, but when you have 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions over your last 5 games, you really can't blame the Atlanta Falcons, and this is why they drafted Penix. They got a lot of scrutiny at the time of the pick because they could have addressed other needs, particularly pass rusher. Jared Verse would look really good in that D-line right now, but they were in quarterback hell for quite a while, did not want to go through that again, so they had their backup plan. I don't think they anticipated going to Penix this early, even though it is late in this season. They did sign Kirk Cousins to a massive deal, and they've already paid him $90 million for how many ever starts it was, 14 starts. That's a tough pill to swallow. But at the end of the day, the Falcons are in the race for their division. They make the switch, and Penix has a soft landing here facing my New York Football Giants, and Atlanta's at home. Your guys' thoughts on this? Michael Penix Jr., the new starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons.
I'll give it to our guest first. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised by the move this week, but I was surprised, like Tom said, how early on they had to go to Penix. But man, dude, like if Penix works out, like that could be like the Falcons can become a scary team. Like they got a lot of young talent. I just feel like they need that dynamic passer, the guy with like extra zip on the ball, like young stud. I don't know. I think it could work out. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I actually know a kid who has him in Dynasty right now. He was really stroking his own udders today.
Hand up.
It was very cool. Yeah, I would start him in your fantasy championship. You know, really flex on us all. But you know, it's great. You know, it's good to see him play. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, what do you have to lose at this point? Like, you don't control your own destiny. So I don't see why not make the move. And then if you are to sneak in, at least it's like, hey, you're getting him some playoff experience early in his career.
Yeah, and I do want to, you know, back up a little bit here. Yes, I was a little excited that I stashed Michael Penix. He went undrafted it's a 1-quarterback league, though, so that's why he went undrafted. Scooped him up, stashed him on the taxi slot. Dave, you hear that? Use your taxi slot. And the reason I said something...
Wait, I wonder if he remembers what a taxi spot is, because he's like...
Bro, I do. Shut up, my God.
But the guy,
like, you guys never talked about that. Like,
our league member that has Kirk Cousins changed his nickname on Sleeper to just shit. So, you know, I wanted to take my little victory lap here where it's like, oh, you know, we had trade talks sent around Penix before the season. You didn't bite. Now who's laughing? This guy right here. Thank God I stashed him. Cleared some roster space for him. So he's on the bench ready to roll. But I got Joe Burrow and Jared Goff, so I won't need him.
It's just that contract, though. Like the contract for Kirk just sucks. Like you pay him, you expect him to ball for, obviously at least a year, maybe. Like I mean, you sign him for 4, but like in my head, I was thinking he plays 2 years, then you kind of move on from him.
Yeah, that's how it's structured.
Right, especially considering Penix's age. Like he was already older coming out of college, so it's like it just sucks that you're kind of stuck with that next year. But the good news is that if Penix does work out, he's on a rookie contract. And then you still got Bijan on a rookie contract. Pitts, I believe, still on a rookie contract, right? So, and even London might be.
Yeah,
so,
London,
yeah. So you got guys like that you're not paying too much, you're not shelling out too much for, but it does suck to pay that much to a backup quarterback, obviously.
Yeah, and people are like, you know, with Kirk, like, will people trade for him, this and that? I believe sometime in April or May, he's due like an additional $10 million that will count towards next year. They're already eating north of 20 to, I believe it's between 20 and 30 million of dead cap next year on Kirk Cousins if they were to move on. But they have to make a decision earlier because there's an additional 10 million that would count towards the books. So a bunch of teams are going to need quarterbacks this offseason, and the supply does not meet the demand. So someone will probably make a move for Kirk Cousins, and he'd account for, I believe, $27.5 million against their cap next year, which, granted, Kirk does not look good right now. I don't know if it's a style of offense. His age clearly is a factor. He's not pushing the ball downfield, and he's coming off that Achilles. So there's a lot of red flags there, but at the same time, it's hard to find a quarterback that's done as much as Kirk Cousins on the market in this offseason. All right, let's move on, gentlemen. The Titans bench Will Levis for Mason Rudolph. This just screams the end of the Will Levis era in Tennessee. I'm not a big Levis guy, never have been, but he's still a young player, but you never put it together. Too many turnovers, not making enough plays. But, I mean, it seems like the Tennessee Titans are kind of waving the white flag for this season, going with Mason Rudolph, because I guess he gives a better chance to win right now.
I would say they're waving the white flag on Will Levis in general. I mean, you don't bench him at this point in the season if you're not planning on moving on.
That's what I'm saying.
I think they'll definitely draft someone. I mean, hey, my New York Jets, I'd rather go trade for Will Levis than draft any of the quarterbacks in this draft. I still fully believe in Will Levis. I think the talent's there. It's just a lot of head-scratching mistakes. People forget that, like, you know, he didn't play a lot last year. He was really kind of only played like a rookie year's worth of games. Like, he's only got like 16 at this point. So the physical traits are there. So I would love, you know, the Jets to go trade for him, let him sit behind Rodgers next year and see if he has anything. That's a name I would much rather have than us, you know, taking any of these quarterbacks in the middle of the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to disagree there, Reagan. Just like Will Levis, like he's dog shit, man. Like he's
very
not
inaccurate.
He's super inaccurate, and his decision making is really bad. And yes, I agree. He's got the big arm. Like, he can move a little bit. He does have some physical attributes, but like you see so many guys in the league nowadays that like have all this talent that jumps off the page, and then it's like if you can't process the field correctly, if you can't read a defense correctly, and yes, he only has had a rookie year's worth of games, but like you already see like Bo Nix, Jaden Dan, you see these young guys, even Caleb Williams, like Drake May, learning fast, picking it up much faster than Will Levis has been able to. Maybe that's coaching, maybe that's play calling, but I do think it's definitely a big part on Levis. The worst part about it though is that his ex-girlfriend, Gia Duddy, was at the game. At the game when you get benched for Mason Rudolph, like, oh, it's brutal.
The look on her face when he fell to the second round, and then the look at her face, the picture that they got of her in the stands, completely different look on her face. That's 2 points at time.
Tough look, man. I feel bad for my boy.
Yeah, that is one thing. I'm not a believer in Will Levis as a player, but I do feel bad for the man.
Yeah, you got to feel bad for the man.
I still feel like he could be a Josh Allen, man. It's not like Josh Allen was.
Fuck.
Very comparable size-wise. Hold on, because size-wise, and if you look at Josh Allen's rookie year, it was the same thing. Like the arm strength's there, the accuracy's not there. You know, you can see the physical traits there, but he was struggling a lot, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, was that the right pick?" Obviously, fast forward to now, yes, it was the right pick, but they got the right coaching around him. They got the right weapons. They put him in the right situation for him to develop. So I do not think that is in Tennessee for Will Levis, but my whole point is if he leaves, you never know. Like, there might be a quarterback coach out there that could figure him out and fully unlock him. So I'm just not giving up on him just because of the physical talents. You know, if it was, you know, Bryce Young where he doesn't have the physical talent and is struggling, it's a little bit easier to give up on the guy.
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
Buda Baker
signs thank you guys.
Buda Baker signs a 3-year, $54 million extension with the Arizona Cardinals. If he were to play out that 3-year extension, he would have spent all 11 of his years in the league with the Arizona Cardinals, which is impressive in this day and age. And let's not forget, he demanded a trade before the season last year. They didn't grant it. They were terrible, but he's clearly a leader on that very young team, and they've had a much better season this year. So good shit for Buda Baker. They're keeping the leader on the back end of that defense. I think it's a good move for Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a testament to the Cardinals organization. Like they're able to keep people around, and then it's the other thing about it though. I think just says like those trade offers, like when people are like, "Hey, like requesting trades," like they're such bullshit. Like so many of the times, like it's just bullshit. Like they're trying to put pressure on the team. They're trying to, throw things out there in the media. But it's clear, obviously, Buda Baker wanted to stay. He wouldn't have resigned, right? So, like, for everyone out there, it's like, oh, this guy requested. Like, I don't think it means shit until, pen to paper.
Absolutely. Unless a team like really physically can't afford it, which is somewhat rare. Unless you're, a team in Cap Hill like the Saints, where it could be difficult to give a guy like this an extension. Usually, it's just a leveraging tactic.
Yeah.
To wrap up our news, Patrick Mahomes practiced in full, and the Chiefs say if he's good to go, he's gonna go. I'm guessing he's gonna play against Houston on Saturday. Then they have another game next week on Christmas, which is on a Wednesday. So 2 games in a short amount of time for Mahomes, with his Chiefs trying to hold on to that number 1 seed. I expect him to see him Saturday. How compromised he is to be determined. But does this alter your pick this week in Chiefs versus Texans?
No, actually, I'm taking the Chiefs no matter who's playing. I feel very confident in them. I love the matchup. I mean, I feel like Stroud's going to have no time with this Chiefs front 7. I expect the Chiefs defense to step up regardless if it's Wentz or Mahomes.
Yeah, that defense is lights out. I'm with Reagan. I'd still roll with the Chiefs regardless.
Yeah, and I know the line's -3 right now, so I feel like that is reflecting Carson Wentz playing. I do expect it to balloon up closer to a touchdown if Mahomes is to go.
You think a touchdown?
Yeah, dude, because they're at home. They're definitely better than Houston. We've seen
they
Houston
were just
struggle
a 4.5.
this year.
They were just a 4.5 point favorite last week against Cleveland.
Yeah, but they were on the road.
You think okay, but it's Cleveland. They have 3 wins. They started Jameis Winston.
Yeah, but Cleveland, because Cleveland
7?
has been playing tight games with Jameis at the helm. Like, it's not like the Deshaun Watson Browns. I know they're benching him probably because they're not winning games, but like he's definitely kept them relevant in games. And the Chiefs have been in a lot of tight games. I definitely think it'll balloon up closer to 7.
I think 5.
To go.
I think 5. I think 7's a little aggressive.
I'm just saying closer to 7. Like 5 probably fits in that cat or whatever.
I'm taking Houston regardless. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
To win?
Houston, bro. Yeah, I got Houston this week, man.
We'll get into that.
I think it's going to be a really ugly game, low scoring, and I'm kind of thinking either Mahomes going to be compromised or it's Wentz, and I think it's going to be like a 16-13 type of game. So,
the former MVP candidate Carson Wentz?
Yeah, how funny would it be if Wentz obviously got a ring with Philly, having a hell of a season, got hurt, and Foles comes in? Obviously, it's not going to happen, but
yeah, I mean,
Mahomes' ankle isn't as bad as it could have been. But how funny would it be though if like Wentz led the Chiefs to a 3-peat? Like that would be crazy.
I'd vomit. I'd literally vomit.
Sickening.
Wait, but if the Chiefs lose this week and the Bills win, Bills take the AFC 1 seed, right?
No, Buffalo's got 3 losses.
Oh, they got 3. Oh, yeah, okay.
So the Chiefs would have to lose 2.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm fine with them starting Wentz, because you can afford to lose one. Like I don't see how the Chiefs don't finish out the year at 2-1 at worst. I don't see them dropping 2. And who's to say Buffalo doesn't drop 1? I mean, obviously they've been on fire, but it's Patriots, Jets, Patriots. But 3 division games, anything can happen in division games.
Very true. That wraps up our news. Let's get Jock back in here, baby. What do we got for questions? I heard we got a fat slate of questions tonight.
Yo, Jock will cue himself in, okay? Don't tell him on how many questions we got tonight. He'll putting it in. So
I like a question guy with some fire.
Yeah, so it's Jock, the guy that knows what a taxi squad is. We're starting off with our main man, not Austin, but Mr. Jerry Crampton tonight.
Oh, man.
First question of the night. Rank the top 5 rookies, non-quarterback, from this most recent draft class in Dynasty value.
I like that. That's a good question. And that's obviously an interesting one because it's really just like Brock Bowers and 4 wide receivers is what it comes down to.
You could make an argument for Bucky Irving. I don't know if Bucky is going to sneak into the number 5. You can make an argument. Bowers is 1, premium position in fantasy, tougher to find a tight end, breaking records. Bowers is 1 for me. Argue the receivers how you like, right? Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr. Argue him how you like. Brian Thomas has had the best season on paper. Leak is right there with them, missed 2 games. Marv has obviously not had the same caliber of season as those 2, but let's be honest, Kyler Murray is kind of holding him down right now. I'm not digging what Kyler Murray's doing. And a lot of people are going to argue Ladd McConkey, right? Ladd McConkey's having a better season on paper than Marv. I'm not taking Ladd McConkey over Marvin Harrison in Dynasty. I'm just not, because if you switch roles and you put Marv with Justin Herbert, I think it's a much different story. And Ladd's physical tools are not comparable to those other three guys that I mentioned, right? So I think you go Bowers, you go Neighbors, you go Brian Thomas Jr., you go Marv, and that 5 spot where it gets dicey. You want to go Bucky Irving. Do you still want to bank on the upside of Rome Odunze, although he hasn't had that rookie season that you want? I still like Rome Odunze a lot. I think it's Shane Waldron sucks, and also the Bears right now suck, and he's behind 2 veteran receivers where Keenan Allen will be gone next year. I think Rome has a much better sophomore season. So I'll take, then again, Bucky's been a dog. I'll take Bucky at 5, actually. Give me Bucky at 5.
Interesting with Bowers. I will say that because for as great as he is, I'm not going to take him 1 because this is for Dynasty. And if I had my choice of any of those wide receivers, I'm going to take them over Bowers because, I don't know if maybe Bowers will eventually get to that Kelsey level and that Rob Gronkowski level of dominant, but that's taking a big shot where like these wide receivers, any of these guys could be top 5 guys on any years. And odds are Bowers won't be able to keep up with him. He would need the yards to get there. And like, obviously it's been there this year, but I don't know. I just find it hard to take the tight end position there because, you can get by in different weeks where wide receivers, it's hard to find those true alphas.
There's more receivers than there are tight ends, that you think are like you would tab number ones, like you're plug and play and you're feeling really good about it.
If I'm redrafting, I don't think I'm like if you do a redraft right now, like I don't think I'm taking Bowers 101. Like I still think I would even take Harrison. Definitely Neighbors. Brian Thomas for sure. Brian Thomas, to me, honestly, might be number 1 right now because just watching that game last week, like what he was able to do to Sauce Gardner with freaking Mac Jones as his quarterback was super impressive to me.
He also had some big plays against Christian Gonzalez, too.
So I honestly want to go with Brian Thomas 1. Obviously Marv, he was struggling a ton. Christian Gonzalez shut him down. You were blaming Kyler a lot, but Marv really just hasn't looked what I thought he could be. I mean, Ladd McConkey, I don't know like if his ceiling is where those other guys are. Well, I do think Malik will be good. I just hate the body language he shows. Like, he's just like almost, he's just like a baby from what I've seen. So I know that's not going to affect the fantasy football thing, but I just don't like the body language I see from him where Brian Thomas is in an equally as bad situation, but you don't see him complaining and crying and he's putting up big production still. So I'll go Brian Thomas 1. I lean Neighbors 2. I'll still go Harrison 3. Give me Bowers at 4. And then 5, I'll go with Ben Sinnott. No. No, I'm I actually do think he will be good. I can't. If once Zach Ertz is out of there, he'll be good. But
hire me up.
I had to throw that in there for Walmart. But no, at 5, give me McConkey.
So I'm gonna. This makes me sick saying it, but I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna go Neighbors 1.
Yeah.
I think like when you watch every guy play that we've named, there's no one that's as explosive as Neighbors, and like as a big play threat. I just feel like he's always open. Like even when we beat the Giants twice this year, and I felt like he was open every play. Like they could have gotten the ball every play. And we had a sorry secondary then, but like I think he is like talent wise is through the roof. He's the best receiver in the class in my opinion. And you get him a quarterback.
He has the 3rd best separation of all receivers in the league this year. Malik Neighbors.
Not surprising. Yeah, not surprising. And I think Marv is actually bottom 5 in that category. I think Marv's separation rate is like very low this year. And look, dude, college is a different game than the NFL. Like receivers that were great in college don't always translate as well. They still translate well and are still key contributors, but they're not necessarily always that number 1 guy, right? So Neighbors is 1 for me. I'm going to go Brian Thomas 2, Brock 3. Then I'm going to go Bucky, then Marv. I'm going to go Bucky, then Marv.
Bucky over Marv. I love Bucky, dude.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
Yeah. I think Bucky's a dog. And I think, and like Tong said about tight ends, I think it's similar for running backs. I think there's, the top guys, and then there's like a decent fall off. And Bucky's really young, in a really good situation, a good spot. Like I think, especially with when Mike Evans and Chris Godwin come back like fully healthy, having both of them, Takes a lot of pressure off the run game. So yeah, I think yeah, Bucky 4, Mar 5.
Yeah,
Hot
and
take.
I think another name you could throw out there that none of us talked about is Tracy. I mean, he's putting up good numbers right now, and he's not in the best situation. So if they can, kind of figure
Horrible.
out that offense, like he still almost got 700 rushing yards this year. Like he's been way more effective than Singletary. I mean, it sucks for you fantasy owners out there because the past couple of weeks, Singletary's just coming in and stealing the touchdown.
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Which, really, really, I feel like you would have a different taste in your mouth if those touchdowns go to him the past couple of weeks. So I feel like a lot of people may be down on him as of recent because he has been putting up terrible games. Like I think last week he only had like 4 or 5 points in the fantasy playoffs, but he's another guy that definitely needs to be talked about.
Second and last question for Jerry. What does Penix getting the start do to Bijan?
I think it's good. I actually think it's good. It might hurt his receiving a little bit, but I think it'll open more up on the offense. It can't get any worse. Like, teams are like daring Kirk Cousins to throw the ball right now. So, if Penix can prove that he's a good pocket passer, I feel like it'll open up more for the run game. It's just like, and I know Penix isn't a super mobile guy, but he's certainly a lot more mobile than Kirk Cousins. So, and with him being a rookie, he might, I don't know, because he either might rely on him more and be a check down Charlie, or he's going to be like trying to get the big plays. It's to be determined, but I think it helps him more as a runner.
Yeah, I mean, Penix really pushed the ball downfield at Washington. I'd expect him to have a similar mindset here with the weapons that he has at his disposal here in Atlanta. I think it's a really good situation for Penix. I think it raises the ceiling of the entire offense. I think Bijan is going to get in the end zone more with Penix. And, I mean, I think this Atlanta offense is just a full smash play against the Giants this week with the injuries that they have. So I think Penix will look good this week, but his real test will come afterwards. But ultimately, for Bijan Robinson, I think it's a good move. I think it's going to help him.
Yeah, I think it depends on how they approach it and how they want to game plan it. Because you see with the other rooks, like with Cliff and Jaden, the way that he kind of molded the system around Jaden, and I think it's similar with Bo Nix in Denver. And I think if they want to mold the system around Penix, then yes, I agree with Reagan. I think it's going to help with the run game and hurt him in the passing game a little bit. But if they plug and play, if they just plug him in and play him and run him the same way they were running with Kirk Cousins, I actually think it'll help him in the pass game because, like you guys said, a rookie dynamic threat for a rookie quarterback, a dynamic threat out of the backfield like that. You check it down and you let him make a play, just get the ball in his hands. I could see that being kind of opening it up for Bijan a little bit more. But it really depends on how they want to scheme up their offense, in my opinion.
All right, let's slide to Austie now. First question for main man Austie.
That main man.
Which teams, in your guys' opinion, will make the Super Bowl?
Eagles, for sure. I mean, they look like the most complete team right now. They're super healthy. The defense looks sick. Saquon's obviously been, a whole rejuvenation for the offense. And the fact that, Kellen Moore isn't asking Jalen Hurts to be like Dak Prescott, where, throwing the ball like 40 times a game. He's letting Jalen Hurts be Jalen Hurts. So the fact that he's, using him with his legs, letting him get outside of the pocket, it seems like they've really figured out a good game plan on both sides of the ball right now. And, I know the NFC North is obviously a gauntlet. And, if they run into the Commanders, it gets a little dicey because you never know when you play a team 3 times. But I really do like their path, especially if they can get that 1 seed because they're just healthy. And that's a huge fact.
Yeah, I mean, I said preseason Lions over Chiefs. I have a nice fat ticket in my pocket of Chiefs over Lions. I also have a smaller ticket on Lions over Chiefs. That looks a lot more dicey now. Like if you put a gun to my head and made me choose, like, yeah, I'd pick Philadelphia out of the NFC right now. They're healthy. They're steamrolling right now. Detroit is reeling on defense, but I'm going to stick with my pick. I'm going to go Lions Chiefs.
Yeah, I think Tong knows how big of a Josh Allen guy I am in the Buffalo Bills. It's tough because I think it's really like I as much as I love Josh Allen, I just don't see the Bills going into Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs. But if they can sneak out that 1 seed, I'm taking the Bills. And then in the NFC, I'm going to go the Eagles. The Lions are too hurt, and then the other the NFC is relatively.
What kind
weak,
of fan
if I'm
are
gonna be
you,
honest.
bro? Even
I
if
mean,
you don't
dude, I'm
believe
so,
in your
like,
commies, you got to take them, bro.
hey, dude, I'm not
taking the Eagles. I would rather you fucking put on your biased hat right now. I don't care if you believe it, but you better sing it, bro. You know, if I was the fucking Jets, I would be fucking sucking them off so hard
I'm
right
not
now.
jumping the gun. I'm not jumping
I
the
would
gun.
jump it. Who cares? Who cares?
We
If
got to
you're
make
wrong,
the
it's like,
playoffs. We got to
yeah,
make the
fair.
playoffs. You know, like
Yeah.
once we make the playoffs for sure. Oh yeah, like we're winning the fucking whole thing.
Yeah,
but
all
like
right.
we gotta make
okay.
it. I can't reverse jinx. I can't. You know, we gotta get there first. You know,
If the playoffs started today, they would draw the Eagles on the road round 1. So
Yeah, which I actually don't hate that matchup. Like, that's scary just because we've seen in the past, like the year Brady won the Super Bowl, the Saints beat him both times in the regular season, and then they beat him in the playoffs in New Orleans. Because, it's tough playing a team 3 times in a year. So I wouldn't even hate that matchup if I'm the Commanders. I'd rather play the Eagles in Philly than go into Detroit. You haven't played Detroit yet, where Philly, you'd be familiar with them.
Yeah, and we also, like, if you watch that game, like the last time we played them, like we were in that game for a large part of it,
Yeah.
and then Saquon Barkley happened, but like we were in that game, and then so yes, I agree with Reagan, like seeing a team 3 times, and then people forget like Dan Quinn is our head coach, and Joe Witz are DC, 2 guys that just came from Dallas and also know the Eagles and also are very familiar with how they like to run their offense. So, yes, I would rather play the Eagles than the Lions, even though losing to the Eagles will hurt way more than losing to the Lions would in the playoffs. But
trust
you know,
me, dude, I was just there 2 years ago. It sucked.
yeah, exactly. But
Terrible.
but yeah, we would draw them right now. But they're looking to get that 1 seed, bro. They might get that 1 spot.
To me, I think it's going to be an NFC team this year for sure. I don't have any confidence in any of the AFC teams coming out. If you want to play another NFC team, if you'll let me, I'm going with the Packers. They've been playing some really good football as well right now. And similar sentiment, if they run into the Vikings or the Lions for the 3rd time, I think that's anyone's game. But I really like the football they've been playing recently. And another thing, they're just healthy, and that's such a key factor to me.
Yeah, the Packers are definitely dangerous. I'd have a lot more confidence in them if teams had to go to Lambeau.
Which, I mean, you never know how it shakes out. They still could have a game. If they get I guess it would be the 6th, so they'd be rooting for your Commanders.
Second question for Austin. Which game should be the best to watch this week?
A lot of good ones. I mean, Steelers-Ravens on Saturday afternoon. That's awesome. Huge implications for the division. If Baltimore could win, they tie up the Steelers in the win column. That's what sticks out like a sore thumb to me.
Yeah, I just feel like the Steelers, like, as good as they are, and they're very, very good, I just feel like they're boring. Like they're just like a boring team to watch.
They're not a sexy team.
They're not a sexy team. And then, like, especially in a divisional matchup, especially in the AFC North, like where I feel like a lot of those are just defensive battles, like just defensive like master classes. So yes, I think it'll be a tight game, but I don't know how entertaining it'll be to watch though. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. The Steelers are boring. I'm going to go with the one I'm going to. Austin will be there with me. We're going to the Jets-Rams game. Highest over under on the slate, 49.5. So, let's just root for points, Let's root for points.
Have a good time. Root for points.
Yeah, have a good time. Let's have some, of age drinks, Mr. Austin. Let's enjoy ourselves. What do you say, kid?
I'm going to go Commanders Eagles. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. I think, divisional matchup, I think, it was a lot of points, a lot of big playoff implications. And then, I think we have the ability to put up a lot of points, and I think they do too. And so I do think it could be a battle. It could be a blowout, but I think I'm going to take that. I'm going to take Commanders Eagles.
Let's slide to Jahara, dude. I haven't seen this guy ask questions in a minute.
Let's go.
First question for Dave. Who's your QB 1, running back 1, and wide receiver off the board right now?
Let's assume Dynasty because we are in the Dynasty League.
It's redraft, and then he's got a Dynasty question. So this was the redraft question.
I think it's got to be Allen for fantasy. I think that's unanimous, right?
Yeah, it's Josh Allen, dude.
I think Allen for anything. Fantasy, Dynasty, doesn't matter.
I was going to say both platforms, yeah.
The only guy you could argue is Lamar. It's the only argument you could make.
I agree. I just think the Lamar, like the injury concern in the past worries me a little more than Allen. But yeah, I would take Allen, but that's the only guy that's even close. I would say for sure.
Wide receiver 1, you want to go Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson? I think that's the argument.
Yeah, well, it's like it's at this moment in time. Like, who would you want on your fantasy team?
I mean, Jettas is quarterback proof. That's the thing with me. It's like he can do it with anyone, and I'm sure Jamar. I mean, actually, I don't really know if Jamar is because
he didn't do it with Browning last year. Yeah,
right. I was about to say. So, I mean, and Justin Jefferson was doing like Nick Mullins. I'm pretty sure. Like, so
we love Nick Mullins on this podcast. God damn it,
he was slanging that bitch. But yeah, I'm gonna go Jettas. I think he's a safer option. I think Jamar's having a crazy year, but I think Jettas is the safer pick. So yeah,
I would still go CD, bro.
Jefferson before this year.
I'd still go CD.
You go
like
CD
to be honest, yeah, dude, because he's still putting up big numbers with Cooper Rush. Like if you want to talk about quarterback proof, like he's gone over 100 yards the past 2 games and has been heavily targeted and getting a bunch of receptions and getting the touchdowns. So I'm still very confident.
Yeah, but what makes you put CD over Jettas though? Because I can understand that argument over Chase, but if we both seen him do it with shit quarterbacks, and I think Cooper Rush is.
Dak's gonna be coming back, where we don't know what it'll look. We know he can get it done with shit quarterbacks, but we know what CD is with Dak versus what will it look like for JJ McCarthy next year in Jettas. And I know he gets it done with shit quarterbacks, but is he still? He could be getting it done as a top 5 wide receiver, but he might not be the guy.
Okay, but
I think Kevin O'Connell.
Dak's coming back. Dak is not under contract. You can't just.
You would assume. I think he is. Dude, I find it hard to believe.
If I had to choose right now, I'd say yeah. But also like Jerry Jones has not been adamant that he wants him back. Are we sure Jerry wants to pay him $60 million a year? And then you go. The same argument.
Jerry didn't want to pay Zeke, and he paid him.
Yeah, okay, but Jerry Jones is very unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do. And to that argument where he has Dak, for damn sure, Chase is going to be married to Burrow for at least 5 more years.
Yeah.
I also think we're sleeping
more than Chase, to be honest.
We're sleeping on coaching as well. Like the uncertainty at coach for the Cowboys is definitely apparent.
The Bengals too, honestly.
But I think Kevin O'Connell's one of the best offensive minds in the league. I think so. He knows how to get his guy the ball. So I think I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Jettas. I just think it's too easy. He's been too good for too long. As good as CD's been, there's more. I think there's more uncertainty there than there is with Jettas.
Yeah, my only kickback to both yours is CD has no wide receiver 2 behind him, where there's Addison and there's T, and I know T might be gone, but still, there's nobody else there. And even the tight end landscape, like the Vikings have Hawkinson too, so there's just so many other options they can go to, where I feel like the Cowboys, like if they're in games and competing, it has to go through CeeDee Lamb. There's no other options, where we've seen the Vikings can win without Jefferson being the heavily targeted guy. They can get it done with Jordan Addison, and even the Bengals, like you can get it done with the Chase Brown and the T Higgins show. I guess Rico's been cooking now.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna kick back one more time because
let's keep picking.
I do agree. I do understand where you're coming from, but I will say that the other side of that argument can be made, where it's what happens if Dallas goes out and gets a viable option at number 2? What happens if they go get an Ashton Genty and he becomes a focal point of that offense? Whereas Jettas, we know this is what it is. This is what their offense is, and he's still a dog. And CD, yes, very good, all that stuff. But they bring in someone else. We never know. They also bring in a different coach. We don't know what that team can look like next year, especially if Dak's gone. Whatever
out there, you're right.
Right. Definitely a lot of what ifs. But I'm going Jettas. So, and you got CD, and then Tom, you go Jettas or Jamar?
I'll go Chase.
You got Jamar.
Give me Chase, dude. We all just pick. Those are the top 3, though. Like, you pick your fucking.
Yeah, I do like Puka though too. I could have gone with my guy Puka.
Puka's a dog too. He's
definitely uncertainty there though. Uncertainty there too with Stafford and all that.
I know that's the only reason I didn't go him, and it's also
And
Talent's
McVay's
through the
already
roof, though.
McVay's already like debated retiring already too. Like, how many more
Yeah.
years does McVay want to go once Stafford's gone? Like, if he goes through 2
Has he
years of
really
quarterback-
already considered retiring? I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
after the Super Bowl, just burnt out. Like, just straight up burnt out. Like,
That's
they
crazy.
Yeah,
That's
they
crazy.
ultimately gave him an
Well-
extension, but like I could see McVay being done in 5 years and going to TV and like taking a break and then potentially coming back.
Nah.
Yeah.
Running back.
Bijan or Gibbs, pick your poison, in my opinion, or Brees Hall. But Brees Hall,
Well, it's not Dynasty, though. We got it like so skewed here.
Redraft. This was the redraft question.
all
Yeah.
right, Saquon Barkley right now.
Yeah, or Henry. It's Saquon.
Yes. Saquon. Yeah.
Or I guess you could say Gibbs, though, because if it's right now, like Montgomery's out.
If it's
so
right now, Gibbs, but you can still argue Saquon.
Yeah.
No. How can we say if it's right now it's Gibbs? It's got to be Saquon, right?
Well, it's just because Montgomery's out, so like Gibbs is just going to get.
Oh,
an insane
okay.
workload.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. All right.
but
Nah,
Lost-
it's right
that's what-
now. It's
yeah.
right now. Okay.
Yeah, it's
All
a big
right.
what if, but yeah,
That's
Saquon,
fair.
or
Yeah.
Henry if we're going the whole year this year. Those two have been the best two.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. This is a dynasty question. How high do you draft Travis Hunter with him having the possibility of playing cornerback?
Dude, this is the big what if in Dynasty
Yeah.
fantasy football right now is what do teams want from Travis Hunter? And good thing our rookie drafts are after the NFL
Yeah, I
draft
was
because
gonna
it'd
say,
be
yeah.
fucking impossible to pick Travis Hunter in a spot and feel comfortable about it if you did it before the NFL draft and knew
There
it
are
all.
leagues
What
that do
what-
that.
I know, and it adds a little excitement to draft night for sure. But I like to be more informed when we make our decision for who we want to take. You're not taking him over Ashton Genty. You're not taking him over Tet McMillan from Arizona, right? Then it gets interesting. Now, if you're in Superflex, okay, take your Shedeur Sanders, take your Cam Ward, if you so please. But do you value Luther Burden from Missouri over Travis Hunter, even though Travis Hunter is a wide receiver prospect? Probably right now is a little bit ahead of him. I'd still take Luther Burden because I have a hunch whatever team takes Travis Hunter is going to play him full-time at corner and have packages for him on offense. And I actually saw a report today around the league that's kind of what teams are thinking is a full-time corner with coming in certain play packages on offense. Probably third downs, drawing up plays for him, 2-minute drill, that type of shit, right? Which you're not comfortable starting that in fantasy. No matter how good of a player Travis Hunter is, if he's not playing at least 50% of snaps on offense, how can you justify starting him? Unless you're
Yeah,
really
I'm not drafting him at all. I don't care. I'm not touching him unless it's like the third round. I feel like that would be a waste of a pick. I'd rather let somebody else take the shot because I don't think he'll ever live up to what you think his ceiling could be where you'd be taking him, where I'd rather take one of those other guys where you know they're going to be, the full-time starter getting all offensive work. And like, you got to think like the injury risk is going to be through the roof for Hunter if he is playing like full-time at both spots or even playing close to, 100% of the snaps on both sides. So I'm staying away from it. And I'm sure in most leagues, people will reach. He will be a first-round pick in most leagues. So I'd rather let somebody else take that risk. It's too rich for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he's smart, he comes in as a receiver. Like, yeah, that's where the money's at. But I think he seems like the type of kid that's going to, like, just, like, do what's best. Like, he doesn't seem like he has a big head. He's going to do what's best for the squad and what the squad wants, which I agree with Tong is going to be corner. So, yeah, I'm also not touching him. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to draft him either unless I have a ton of picks and I'm okay with taking a dart throw in the talent, right?
Yeah.
If you have one pick in the first round, I'm not doing it. Now, in our league, I have 2 firsts and 3 seconds. I don't think Trav will slide to the second because I think someone's going to be like, oh, it's Travis Hunter. How do I not take him? If he were to slide to the
I
second,
have an
in that
idea of someone
situation,
who might do that.
I'd take him.
I could see him on somebody's taxi spot for the first time, him ever using his taxi spot.
Yeah, my dad would probably take him in the first round. So if I had a first round pick this year, but
That's
I
true,
do
that's
not. It's
true.
in Collins.
Right.
It's in
I
Collins.
have it.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna come in last this year. All right. Last question for Dave. Does Terry get locked down against the Eagles D this week?
Oh, he knew you were going to be on, dude. That's why he asked that
No.
question.
I'll let Walmart
This
answer.
is not cool, man. I mean, it's Guantanamo Bay right now, dude. He's playing out of his mind, and like, it's weird. So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say he's gonna get more receptions, definitely, than he did last time. And the reason I say that is because in the last few weeks, Cliff has been moving Terry around a lot more than he was. He was lining up split left, I think, over 80% of the snaps up until like 2 weeks ago. And now they've been kind of moving him around, shifting him around. And we don't have Noah Brown. So I don't know if KJ Osborne plays this week, but I still think with, the losing Noah Brown, we don't really have a wide receiver too. They're going to move him around more and try to match him up one-on-one against other guys. I think he'll play better. When I start him, I don't know. It depends who your other options are, but I do think he'll play a little bit better than he did last game, which was, he had one catch for 10 yards, so it's kind of hard to play worse.
And Terry's been, the last 3 games, the best stretch of his entire season. He's been dominant. So I think my stat line prediction for Terry be something like 5 catches for like 41 yards and no touchdowns, to be honest with you. He'll do better, but still, his ceiling is just not as high this week as it has been in weeks past.
Yeah, but you have to play him. You're not benching him. If he's gotten you this far, you have to play him. I think he could definitely have a good game here. I know with how good the defense is, but I just feel like they're going to come up with a better game plan to get the ball in his hands. Like, he's their best offensive weapon. Outside of Jaden Daniels, obviously, but he's their best receiver. And I believe Ertz is going to miss as well now with the concussion.
He's questionable. I assume he's going to miss, but we'll see. He might. But your boy Ben Sinnott might get some action.
I hope they hold Ertz out just because I'd love to see what Ben Sinnott could do. So watch it. Yeah. I'm going to be taking his.
Yeah, dude, he's been getting a lot of love from like Washington media and everything. He's a great blocker, just doing all the little things right. And, there's a veteran guy who's playing pretty well in Zach Ertz in front of him, and, he'll get his time. But he's getting a lot of rave reviews right now.
Oh, he's the next Trey McBride. Same situation, sitting out behind Zach
I hope
Ertz.
So, brother.
2nd round pick.
I hope so.
Tight end, big production out west, sitting behind Zach Ertz, then gets his chance in year 2. Balls out, but
yeah,
you'll get a little
flash for no
week.
Touchdowns though.
Put him in big dogs. Put him in big dogs.
Almost 1,000 yards and no touchdowns. Jesus Christ.
Yo, put him in big dogs, both of them. And Drock, you can use Ben Sinnott 2 touchdowns this week for Drock's locks. I think I'm actually gonna switch it up this week and go with a fucking long shot play. Yeah, I gotta switch something up. I haven't hit since week 4. I hit 3 of the first 4 weeks and haven't.
Dude, if Ertz doesn't play, putting Sinnott on there would be kind of lit. That'd be kind of crazy.
Speaking of touchdown scorer parlays, let's go to Lino, and he got his first question: best touchdown score parlay tight end edition.
Ben Sinnott. Right into it. Trey McBride, Ben Sinnott.
What a segue, huh, Lino?
What a segue. Lino has no idea what he just did. Give me one more
plus
guy.
425. Wow. Yeah, give me Ben Sinnott plus 425 anytime. That's my leg.
You know what I like? I like Bretton Strange on the Jags.
Strange.
With no Evan Ingram. Bretton Strange last week had 12 targets, 11 catches for 73 yards. And they're playing the Raiders this week. Give me Bretton Strange.
He is plus 330.
Okay, we're juicing it up.
All right, so we got Ben Sinnott and Strange. Who do you got, Walmart?
Who's the backup for Cleveland?
Akins.
Tight end.
Jordan Akins.
Jordan Akins. Yes, because Njoku might not play this week. If Njoku doesn't play, give me Jordan Akins.
Oh, let's go.
It's plus 9,000 right now. Yeah, I'll throw in Mark Andrews to make it nice. All right.
No, Trey McBride. He gets his first one.
No, let him take what he wants.
Kyler said they're trying to get him
300. One. Now, who would you say? Who'd you say?
You want McBride?
No. Who did you say?
I said Andrews.
All right, Andrews it is. Trust your gut. I think McBride scores anyway, but you take what you want. All right, so
if Njoku does play though, give me Noah Gray.
Okay.
So you put $10 on it, you win $2,700. I'll throw $100.
All right. I probably will. Why not? And then we'll have a clip, so this will be a good clip.
Well, we got to circle back up, right? We got to circle back up and make sure that the Njoku's out, right? Because before we place it on Sunday,
right?
We got to place it Saturday.
No, you got to place it now. You got to place it now so you get good juicy odds. Gives a shit if he ain't playing. He'll come in the fourth and score a touchdown.
So we got Sinnott,
Garbage time.
Strange,
Because
Akins,
if they do play, I
and
feel like their odds may
Andrews.
drop down a little bit.
Wow. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's a fun parlay.
All right, second question. Lino's got for us. Compare their stats. Better case for MVP: Lamar, Allen, or Saquon?
Josh Allen, come on, dude. I said it last week. He's going to stamp his MVP in Detroit. And what did he do? I think he stamped his MVP in Detroit. The dude is an absolute freak. And his turnovers, the biggest thing for Josh Allen, the turnovers are way down this year, which is huge. And he's doing it with what? They traded away his number one wide receiver. And he's having the best year of his career. It's Josh Allen for me. I know Walmart agrees.
Yeah, that's 100% Josh Allen for me. Like, the narrative before this year was, will the Bills even make the playoffs? And now it's Josh Allen's in the MVP combo, and they're fighting for the 1 seed in the AFC. Like, he is, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the NFL. As Pat Mahomes has all the accolades, I get it. I think Lamar won a Mickey Mouse MVP last year. I think it should have been Josh Allen, and I give it to him this year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's his award to lose at this point. He should win it. I think the nail was in the coffin last week where the Eagles were able to dominate the Steelers, and they really didn't need Saquon to do it. So I think that kind of almost hurt Saquon in that sense where, Philly can get it done. And I know we were having this debate, like, would Philly still be a top 5 team without Saquon? I fully think they would be, because I think that team's still very deep and very legit on obviously the defensive side of the ball as well. So I think if you plug DeAndre Swift back in there, they're probably the same record, maybe 1 or 2 less wins, but still at the top of the NFC. So yeah, I would say it's Allen's award to lose at this point.
All right, now top 2. Walmart. Who the hell is that guy? First question he's got for us. Reagan, your co-host is so disrespectful to Terry McLaurin. He claimed Cooper Kupp right now is better than him.
Ooh, that is
before the goose egg, goddammit.
I was gonna say, who has that's actually insane. I don't know if you realize how good McLaurin's been this year, but he's been one of the most consistent fantasy wide receivers. I believe he's
wide receiver 6.
I was gonna say, I thought he was top 5 because he just gets it done. I mean, he hasn't been, he hasn't had a ton of like crazy games this year, but he has just been one of the most consistent guys, getting like high teens every week, it seems like. So yeah, he hasn't put up the Jamar Chase 40 burgers, but he's definitely had some big weeks. I mean, obviously I know against the Bears, I remember he obviously saved it last minute, but it just seems like every week he just has a good week. Solid guy. Reminds me of Mike Thomas, the year where he led the league in receptions.
I have no further.
Yeah, and I mean, Terry. Yeah, I mean, look, me and Tom already had our little debate. Terry, for me, is top 10 receiver in the league. I understand there's arguments to be made that he's not, but for me, he is. He's in top 5 of like every receiving category except for receptions and targets. So when he gets the ball, he's one of the best in the league. He's one of the best contested catchers in football. Has top 3 contested catch rate in football. As good as Cooper Kupp was, 2-3 years ago when he won the Triple Crown and won Super Bowl MVP, he just hasn't been able to stay healthy, which I consider a big thing. And he also just hasn't been as consistent as Terry has. I think Terry's one of the most underrated receivers in football.
Yeah, I mean, Terry's also like the number 1 option. You can make a case for Brian Robinson, but like it's clear, like Kupp is the number 3 option for the Rams. It's Puka and Kyron at 1A, 1B, and then Kupp falls in at 3. So that's another aspect too.
Yeah, I mean, and Terry, look at the quarterbacks Terry's had his whole career. This is literally the first year he's had anyone. And he's if he is able to continue, this will be his 6th straight year, I believe, with 1,000 yards. And like he's had like 14 different quarterbacks in those years. It's ridiculous.
And what idiot was saying Cooper Kupp's better? I'm confused.
No.
I forget who it was.
No. After this past week, I lost in the first round of the playoffs by 8 fucking points because Cooper Kupp got me 0. I'm trading him in every league. I'm done with Cooper Kupp. I think he's a bottom 10 receiver in football. I'm done with Cooper Kupp. I'm not dying on this hill. I'm done. Let's move on.
Wow, I can't wait to beat you in our league
Fair
to see
enough.
what you'll do with Jamar Chase.
He's on the bench this week, Cooper Kupp. I'm not starting him. Isaac Guerendo's getting the nod.
I mean, yeah, that's a good move.
All right, let's hop to LL Cool J by the email of Luke is the best ever. Fuck Reagan Losher at gayboy.aol.
Who is that, Luke
God
Young?
damn. It's 1000%.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Man,
He's
I
gonna
love
be
how
like-
he puts in a fake email every time.
And then he's like, I don't make fake accounts. I don't make fake accounts. You guys just think I make fake accounts in the group chat. Hey, Luke, fuck you, dude.
His first question, only one of the night. With all the talk about Puka last year in the running of Offensive Rookie of the Year, if Bowers gets the catch record, is he even considered? Why or why not?
Yeah, it's tough. He should be. He's not going to get it, though. It's going to go to Jaden Daniels, I believe, especially if the Commanders make the playoffs.
Or Bo Nix. Don't rule him out yet either.
Jaden's got the counting stats over Bo. Even though both teams are looking to make the playoffs, Jaden will get the nod over Bo. Now, the argument would be if Jaden Daniels wasn't, like, say he wasn't a thing and it was Bo Nix versus Brock Bowers, I think it's certainly a debate. The quarterback just always gets the nod, especially if you lead a team to the playoffs in your rookie year. And, you know, we saw Puka break records. As you mentioned, he didn't get it. So I think it's going to be similar this year. Now, you can argue if that's right or wrong, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden's number one in all NFC quarterbacks for Pro Bowl voting. Like, out of all the NFC quarterbacks, he's number one. He's a rookie. So, like, I just
How
don't
many times
see.
you vote?
What'd you say?
I said, how many times you vote?
At least half of those. But nah, he's yeah, I mean he has to win it. Like Tong said, it's the most important position on the field, and he's completely turned our franchise around. It's, you know, I mean, yes, you could make an argument for Bo, and Bo's been playing really good football, but yeah, like I think Jaden's won like 8 or 9 Offensive Rookie of the Week awards, compared to like Bo's 1 maybe. So like, and I don't even think Brock's won one actually. So yeah, as good as Brock's been, you know, the Raiders still suck, and like, yeah, it's quarterback's the most important position, so it's gonna go to Jaden, or it should go to Jaden, in my opinion.
Hey, Braylon
Unbiased.
Allen won one of those too. Braylon Allen, he got week 2, he got that award. So
Did he?
it's a pretty
Let's
prestigious
go.
award, let me tell you.
Damn right, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How many does Leak got? Has he got any?
I think he has one. I think he has one.
I think he does have one. I think
it was the other week 2 or 3, I believe.
it was
maybe
against
4.
us. I think it might have been against Washington.
Yeah, when he had the 2 touchdowns, and me and Kenny cashed for $2,000 off a $20 bet.
Up to earth.
Yeah, he had like 10 catches that game. It was ridiculous.
Two touchdowns, yeah, and he had the toe tap. Oh, it was
Yeah.
so sick. We back when we were excited about our season.
Nah, he's
Let's hop to Hafe. First question he's got for us: if you were starting a franchise, which rookie QB would you want to build your team around right now?
That's interesting.
Is that the full question?
Yeah.
I wonder.
It's Jaden
Tough
Daniels.
one.
It's Jaden Daniels. Like
Shit.
you know, you could argue, like, you could take any 4 that have been playing serious time, and I'd be okay with it. But it's got to be Jaden Daniels. He's going to be the rookie of the year. The Commanders were a dumpster fire for how many years? Their offensive line was a joke. Their only legitimate weapon was receiving wise was Terry. And look at them; they're in the playoff picture. Bo Nix, like, you got to tip the cap to Bo Nix as well, because people forget the amount of dead money they have on their books right now with Russell Wilson, where they don't have as much to build the roster around him. But ultimately, Jaden has a higher ceiling than Bo. So I'm going to go Jaden. It really gets, for me, it's tough. Number 2, do I want to go Drake May or Caleb Williams, right? I still, although I really like what Bo's doing, I just don't think his ceiling is as high as those other 3 guys.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Tong, I think the only guy for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Reagan. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I wouldn't want any. I wouldn't want any of them, man. Like we're Jet fans. Like we'd ruin whoever we got. So I don't think it matters.
I'm good with Tim Boyle, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Give me Spencer Rattler. Let's spice it up in here. I don't know. I mean, Jaden obviously is the best. Would we use him right? Probably not. I mean, I do like what I've seen with Drake May, because if you look at the Patriots roster, like there's really not a whole lot of talent, and he's, been able to move the ball down the field, and I like his physical traits. So he's interesting, but yeah, it's got to be Jaden based off of what they've done. And, it's hard to rule out Caleb, and it's really hard to make the decision because we don't know what Penix and McCarthy are going to end up being. Like, I mean, there is a world where all these guys work out. So
crazy.
At least we'll get to see
6.
Penix for the next 8 games.
I was gonna say Jaden, the only guy that I would put not close to, but like the guy I would put second is Drake May, and then I think Caleb over Bo, but yeah, Drake May, like Reagan said, like the physical stuff is all there, and he's got dog shit around him. I think if anything, that's a guy, like he said, Will Levis could be like a Josh Allen. I think Drake May is a guy that could be like a Josh Allen. I think he's a guy that if he figures it out up here, he's got like all the talent. He's got the size, speed, everything. Yeah, I like Drake May a lot coming out of college more than Jaden. So
you want to
I would put Drake too.
Yeah, that would hurt if you're right on that. Having to go against like 2 Josh Allens 4 times a year. Oh my god, that's why I'm smiling. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, dude, he's 6'4", he's 6'4", like 220. Like he can run through dudes. He's fast. Like he's got a wicked arm. Like I don't know. I think I would put him too for sure.
And arguably the worst offensive line in football in front of him, and he's averaging like 9 yards a carry.
Right.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Which rookie receiver takes a step up from this year to next?
Marv's the easy one, just because he's been like
Malik.
so bad
chalk, dude. Just pick the goddamn chalk.
Yeah. Walmart,
What, you want to call me out
Malik
for chalk?
What, you want to call him out, Walmart? Taking Malik?
How about Romo Dunze, dude? I'm gonna go Romo Dunze.
Chalk.
The Shane.
You want to go with the first round pick? Chalk.
The Shane Waldron effect. Shane Waldron leaves Seattle. JSN is a dog. Shane Waldron leaves Chicago. Keenan Allen will be gone. Caleb Williams should progress going into year 2. I like Romo Dunze to have a bigger jump next year.
I'm going Leak only because, not because he hasn't been great this year, only because I think if you guys hit on a quarterback next year in the draft, he skyrockets in production. So, I mean, I would go Leak just because I also think he's the best one.
Give me Shador Sanders and Lee can go 1,500 next year.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any.
Yeah.
There's got to be some hidden gems out there, right? I don't know. I mean, you know who I think could? Xavier Legette, because he's showing some flashes so far down in Carolina, and you can see like recently they're starting to put it together. So I think he could take another step forward. It seems like Dave Canales will definitely keep his job. Like, even though they only have 3 wins, like it's clear like Bryce Young looks way better, especially since the benching. So give me Legette. I think he could take a big step next year when the Panthers get a little more talent around there. Maybe bring in another wide receiver, but you can see a big jump next year.
Or Jalen Coker. Is Jalen Coker chalk? He might be better than Legette.
Yeah, maybe.
He's got a segment or punishment idea for us. It's to be a Jets fan for a season.
He is a Jets fan. He could say it.
It's off the Chambers now. Last guy of the night asked questions.
Let's go. An hour in, still ripping questions. The boy stepped up tonight.
These are good ones though, so I'm happy. It was two statements and one question. But the one question is, would you feel better starting Tua or Penix this week for fantasy?
You cannot start Penix. You cannot start Penix. I'm sorry. You're not playing him.
It's ballsy, dude. It's really ballsy.
You can't, dude. You just can't.
Tua's got San Francisco at home. It's not a matchup I hate at all. I know last week was really bad for Tua, but damn, bro. Penix definitely has the better matchup because the Giants secondary is so depleted, but it's his first start, you know?
You're not doing that in the fantasy playoffs.
In the semifinals, dude, it's tough. I'd stick with Tua at home against San Francisco.
You have to, bro. Tua also was on fire before last week, so yeah, I think Tua has a great game. I think that Miami-San Fran game could end up being like fireworks. So you have to play the Dolphins at home. It's not like they're on the road. It's a home game. Play Tua. Don't get cute with it.
Yeah, Tua.
This one's directed for Colin. The dagger from London while recording a pod is a tough one. R.I.P. brother.
Oh.
So you listened to the recap pod that we
Shots.
dropped. Yeah. So as we were live Monday night, just Drake London first touchdown. I didn't even get to enjoy the sweat of like having the chance to move on. It was first touchdown, Drake London, dagger right away. Just my night was ruined. So that was tough. Hats off to Ryan though, another member of Around the Felt. So shout out Ryan, you got the win, even though you have no goddamn chance of winning the whole thing.
Salty.
Last statement of the night. Odds my crew next from Around the Felt arrive before next summer.
You want to come visit, Chambers? Yeah, you didn't pay for shipping. You want to come? You want to come hang out and get it?
My boys asked the same thing tonight too, and I was like, it may be there before next summer. So
Well, you got to hang out.
What
with
boys of yours? What boys has bought them?
Chad
got one. Attaboy, Chad.
You said
Chad,
boys
hey,
plural.
that's a name
Anyone
I
else?
haven't heard chirping me in a while. Chad, where you been, bro? I'm waiting for you. Used to chirp me all the time.
Yeah, that's all the questions we got tonight, boys.
All right, we're back after a short break. Appreciate Walmart hopping on with us. That was a lot of fun. Ton of questions. Appreciate all of you. So
Yeah, thanks, Walmart. That was fun. That was fun. Sorry we had
Yeah.
to show you the door, but thank you. No.
Yeah. So now we got to dive into these ball games this week, and we're going to be a little quicker with them this week, given how long we spent answering all of your questions. We really appreciate it. We're starting off Thursday Night Football. Big game in the AFC West. Denver at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers a 3-point favorite at home, a 41.5-point total. That's a little high, in my opinion. Reagan, which side you going with?
I feel very confident in the Chargers in this one. I think it's a huge get-right game, a huge bounce-back game from last week. They get it done at home here. Defense steps up big here. I think the offense looks a lot better. They're not going to look as stagnant, so I think that was a real kick in the mouth. I think Harbaugh is going to have them boys fired up for this divisional matchup.
I agree. I'm also going with the Chargers. My only worry is that ankle that Herbert's been playing through. Got a little banged up again on Sunday. He continued to play, but, if Herbert were to get compromised here, it's going to be tough because this Denver defense is no joke. I don't think this hits the total of 41.5. I like the under here, so I'll be very I'll be sparingly with my parlays, to be honest with you, but give me the Chargers at home here. I do believe this is a get-right game for them, and then both teams can be sitting at 9-6 in the playoff race in the AFC. Speaking of that playoff race in the AFC, the Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs on Saturday. 2 Saturday games along with college football playoffs. Man, this is going to be an epic football weekend. The Chiefs are a 3.5-point favorite with a total of 41.5. I said earlier, I'm riding with Houston. Reagan, you don't care if it's Carson Wentz or Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, no, I'm rocking with the Chiefs here. I feel very confident in here. They get the 14-1. They're the better team, dude. The Texans really do not move the needle for me. I think they're very fraudulent where the Chiefs, while Mahomes is great, it's the defense that has been the biggest story in all these games. Like they shut teams down. So I think this will be low scoring, but I feel very confident in the Chiefs. I'd even be willing to make this our big bet of the week.
Oh, man. You're going to give it to me when I'm picking underdog Houston?
Well, what does that have to do with anything? You took the underdog Rams last week.
Yeah, but I don't like that because I don't want to lock in 3.5 if Mahomes gets confirmed playing and it balloons up to 5. I'm getting screwed there.
All right, fine. We'll pick a different game, pussy. I mean, Brett, buddy, edit that out. 1 minute 5 mark. Edit that out.
I'm going with Houston here because I do think Mahomes is going to play. I don't know. Part of me thinks he might get a little banged up and have to exit, which, in turn would be bad for you if we were to do this game. But I don't think this is going to be a Joe Mixon game. I think Mixon might struggle again like he did last week. I don't know why. I'm just feeling a big CJ Stroud game here. Although he has had a bit of a sophomore slump, I think he's going to play up to the moment here in Arrowhead. This is a really ballsy pick for me. I'm taking Houston to win outright as well. I don't know. I just think the Chiefs are due for a loss. They've played too many close games, and I think Houston can get him this week. Now, however, if they were to meet up again in the playoffs, there's no way in hell I'm picking Houston. Just for this week in particular, I'm going to ride with Houston. I think they can get an upset.
Fair.
The next game on the Saturday slate, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Pittsburgh at 10-4, Baltimore 9-5. This is huge in the AFC North. The Ravens, a 6.5-point favorite at home. That is a much bigger spread than I anticipated. Total of 45.5 here. Who are you going with?
I'm going with the Ravens here. I got them to win and cover. I actually think they dominate this game. I think this is, one of the few times where they will blow out the Steelers. But I think they know what that, and they hear about it, like how well the Steelers have played them the past, bunch of times. But it's go time. The division's on the line, and I'm taking the better team here. So I just think the Ravens are the better team overall. Could the Steelers muck it up and make it their kind of game? Yeah, but I think the Ravens offense is going to be humming in this one, and we might see a blowout. So I think the Ravens in dominant fashion. I also do find it interesting that like they're doing Saturday games with the college football playoffs on, and then if you're going to do the Saturday games, like why not give us a night game too? That's weird to me.
I think they're doing Saturday games to give teams an extra day that are playing on Christmas, right? Like I know Kansas City is playing on Christmas. What is the Christmas slate next week? Is what I'm curious about.
I think you're right. Yes.
Are all 4 of these teams playing? Yes. It's
Yes.
Chiefs, Steelers, and it's Ravens, Texans. So that's why they're giving them an extra day. I think the NFL just wants to own Christmas and just take it from the NBA, and that's kind of why they're doing it. But the timing is a little weird with the college football playoffs. But I don't know. I don't mind it. More football, I'm cool with me. I'm going to go with Baltimore to win, but Pittsburgh to cover. AFC North games, you never know what's going to happen. 6 points is just a lot to give Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh will keep up with Russell Wilson's arm. I'm hoping George Pickens is ready to go because I don't think Najee Harris is going to have much success against this Ravens run defense. And I think Baltimore will score a good amount of points just because coming off that bye week, like they got that late bye, they're fresh. They basically had a tune-up game last week against my terrible Giants. So they're humming on all cylinders right now, but 6 points in the AFC North is just too much for me, so I'm going to go with the Steelers to cover it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with George Pickens in a fantasy matchup. I can either go with Jerry Jeudy, DK Metcalf, or George Pickens, and I'm leaning Pickens right now. I mean, obviously, if he doesn't play, then I'm going to take him out. But with the news of Jameis being benched, like I don't really have the confidence in Jerry Jeudy. Like, yes, a lot of it is him, but a lot of it's Jameis Winston giving him the chance and actually airing it out. Where Dorian Thomas-Robinson just gives me the same vibes of Watson, where he's just not going to push the ball, he's not going to give him the chance, and he's just going to take what the defense gives him. And then like DK, like he's just taking such a backseat to JSN. And then if it's Sam Howell too, like it really grosses me out. So
Gino is a little beat up too. So I agree with that decision. I definitely go with Pickens over Jeudy. I wouldn't be comfortable starting anyone from this Browns offense this week with DTR at the helm.
Because I would have been such a good matchup.
I know. Jeudy would have been a smash play. I'd go with Pickens. This Baltimore secondary has given up a lot of yards, and I think Baltimore is going to score where just the way their defense is crafted, you can't run the ball. So they're going to have to throw it, and I think Russell Wilson and Pickens have had a great connection since Russ took over. So I agree with you. I would go with Pickens as well. Giants at Falcons. Giants 2-12, Falcons 7-7. They're an 8.5-point favorite at home. The debut of Michael Penix Jr. Well, his first start, not his debut. He has played in 2 games. The over-under 42.5. Smash play. Give me Atlanta. Don't care if it's Michael Penix. The Giants can't stop a nosebleed. It's looking to be Drew Lock for the Giants. Again, disgustingly bad. I'm going to go with the Falcons to win and cover here at home. Not much for me. I'm not going to sit here and die in the hill of my New York Football Giants.
I do have your New York Football Giants covering. I was actually tempted to take them for the upset here because, obviously, like Cousins hasn't been playing well, but Atlanta's got bigger problems in the quarterback position. I mean, they have been slumping completely, but it's not just Kirk. You can't just point to Kirk and be like, benching him and putting in Penix is going to fix everything. This team has a lot of issues, so I think that's a fat spread. And, the fact that it is Drew Lock, I still do like that more than DeVito or Tim Boyle. At least he, will push the ball a little bit and use his legs. So I think that's the best option to keep the Giants in this game. Where if it was, DeVito again, then yeah, I would go with the Falcons. But Drew Lock being the quarterback does give me some more hope. Because, even in that Dallas game on Thanksgiving, like he was, pushing the ball a little bit and he was using his legs. So I'm going to go with the Giants here to cover.
Detroit at Chicago. Lions a 6.5-point favorite, a 47.5-point total here. Wow, kind of crazy seeing a Lions game where the total's not over 50, especially given the state of that defense right now. Unfortunately, we don't get to see a David Montgomery revenge game here, but we do get to see full go Jahmyr Gibbs. He should receive I'm assuming, over 80-90% of the backfield touches for the Lions.
No,
You don't
I
think
don't
so?
think that much. I think it'll be like more like 66-33 versus 50-50. I don't think they want to burn him out. They still have a big playoff run coming. Craig Reynolds is a guy that they've had be involved in the past. So I think he'll slide into that Montgomery role on a lower scale. But I don't think they're just going to like force feed him, because I think they have bigger plans here for the playoffs and stuff. And they don't want to like run him into the ground. So I think they're still going to not try to give him the full workload, knowing that like they're going to need him down the stretch. I still think he'll be great for fantasy, because just giving Jahmyr Gibbs the ball 5 more times a game is still insane, because he puts up great numbers with like 10 to 15 touches. So if he gets to 20, I just don't think he'll be like that Saquon, Chase Brown, Kyron Williams, like 25 to 30 touch guy. I still don't think that happens.
Yeah, I don't think he. I don't know. I think he's going to have probably, at least 5 receptions, and I could see him getting 20 carries.
Yeah, it'll be close. I just feel like they're not going to give him that full line share, and it won't matter. It's just like, he's still going to be massive for fantasy football, and that's the thing. Like 5 more Jahmyr Gibbs touches could be, that could be 10 fantasy points alone right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it could be 20, to be honest with you. But see, it also depends on what game script you see. I'm going Lions to win, but actually Chicago to cover the 6.5 here. I anticipate a closer game, which is why I see Gibbs getting those touches late in the fourth quarter. And the reason I'm taking the Bears to cover this, one, they're at home. They're outdoors. Jared Goff outdoors, not the same caliber of player. 2, vibes just seem so low in Chicago right now, where, obviously the memes going around of Caleb Williams on the bench and like him flopping over. It's not a good look. Vibes just aren't there. But I think the Bears are going to have some fight in them this week. I don't know. Still not enough fight to get a win against Detroit. But given the state of the Lions defense, I think Caleb Williams, who, by the way, lit up this Detroit defense a couple of weeks ago, now he's at home. I think he can keep him in this game. So give me the Bears to cover, but Lions, they're just too good. They're going to win.
Yeah, I'm going with the Lions to win and cover here. I think it will be close, but I think the Lions will end up still covering the 6.5. I just can't really back the Bears right now, because they just can't put together a full game's worth of competent offense. Like, it just seems like they only get it going once they're trailing from behind and defenses kind of hold off. So, like that Detroit game, it took till the second half for them to wake up. Minnesota last week, same thing. Against the 49ers, like they just get down early. They can't move the ball at all. And it's like halftime and you're like, yeah, the offense is like under 100 yards and they haven't even broken double digits. And it's like, all right, well, this game's over. And like, yeah, like for fantasy, the options will get theirs because, it's garbage time. So I'm just going to keep rolling with Detroit here, mainly because until the Bears prove that they can put together a good offensive game, I don't think I can back them.
Fair enough. Cleveland at Cincinnati. The Bengals a 7.5-point favorite, 46.5 total. DTR, the starting quarterback for Cleveland, which if it was Jameis, I'd be taking Cleveland here to cover because that Bengals defense is so bad. But it's DTR, so I'm going to go with the Bengals to stay hot. Burrow, Chase, matchup proof, doesn't matter. Although that Browns defense is legit. I mean, they just destroyed that Tennessee secondary, which is no joke. So I'm going to go with the Bengals to win and cover here. I actually currently have the Bengals slotted in to start in one of my fantasy matchups this week, which is certainly ballsy given the state of that defense. But DTR is cheeks. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't believe in DTR. The run game has really struggled. The offensive line just is not what it used to be. It's been really poor this season. So I think Cleveland really struggles to keep up with the Cincinnati offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar sentiment. I'm taking the Bengals to cover and win here. It's just, if it was Jameis, I may actually have the Browns winning outright, but it's not. Like, I feel like and they lost Chubb too. And, Chubb obviously hadn't been better. Like, Ford had been way more efficient and looked better, but like Chubb is just, him coming back and the combination of Jameis, like, seemed to just give that offense a lot of juice. But if there's no Njoku, there's no Chubb, no Jameis, it just seems like a lot of pressure on some of the other options there, like Jerry Jeudy, a lot of pressure on him. And like, if you're the Bengals, like, who are you going to try to take out? You're going to take out him and be like, all right, let's let some of these other options beat us. So I'm taking the Bengals to cover and win here and keep them playoff hopes alive for another week.
Titans at 3-11 at the Indianapolis Colts, who are 6-8. Colts 3.5-point favorite, a 42.5 total here. Mason Rudolph got a good matchup with this Colts defense here. Anthony Richardson, another tough matchup through the air for him. But I'm going to go with the Colts to win and cover here. I think the combination of him and Jonathan Taylor on the ground, which I feel like every time I pick the Colts, that's kind of what gets it done for me because you can't rely on Richardson to be an efficient passer. Now, the question is, if the Colts are going to win this game, can Richardson make those big splash plays, which turn out to be huge for the Colts when they do score a decent amount of points, is really pushing the ball downfield to Alec Pierce and Josh Downs and just getting it done that way. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it against Tennessee, but I'm still going to rely on Richardson and Taylor. Taylor, I think, has a good game in this one, bounced back after a really disappointing performance last week, and he really has not been very dominant the last six-ish weeks. You would know. You would know. You have him on your fantasy team. Are you confident starting Jonathan Taylor?
I am debating between him, Tyreek, and Rico Dowdle for 2 spots. So, and right now Rico seems like the one I'm going to lock in. So it comes down to what I'd rather play: Tyreek Hill or Jonathan Taylor. What a luxury to have, but also what a decision to make. So I'm leaning Tyreek right now just because I feel like I have to play him because it's just, the explosions there were like Jonathan Taylor just. I don't know. He did have the big play last week, but I feel like that loss for the Colts is just, it's over. Like, I feel like the vibes are terrible right now. So I have the Tennessee winning here. I think the Colts might just roll over here. I feel like, that type of loss just is so deflating where, like, if he doesn't fumble the ball there, like, they probably win that game. But the momentum changed completely, and now it's just like, they're looking at it as such an uphill battle where if you win last week, you're only a game back at Denver. You kind of control your own destiny in a sense, because then I believe, you would, because one of those teams are going to lose this week because the Chargers and Broncos are playing each other. So they really would have had a good chance to make the playoffs. And, to fall apart like the way they did is just so deflating. So I'm going with the Titans here. While I don't think the Titans are a good team, I think Mason Rudolph is like safe enough to not make those boneheaded mistakes. And I just think this is going to be a low scoring, ugly game where Tennessee, ultimately wins, similar to that Titans Jaguars a couple weeks back.
The Rams are at your Jets, and you will be in attendance, my friend. The Rams are 3-point favorite on the road. 8-6 ball club at the 4-10 Jets, but the Jets still getting some love from Vegas for a 4-10 team. Devontae Adams fresh off that monster game. How do you see this one playing out? I'm hoping it's a shootout through the air.
I think it will be a shootout. I do think we'll ultimately win. It's just the cross-country trip's always hard, but like the Rams don't play in that kind of weather. I think it's just going to be cold for them. A lot of guys not used to that, and I ultimately think the Jets do win this. The offense has been great. I think they're averaging over like low 20, I think like 22 or 23 points a game over like the last 4. So it's the defense that has been the issue. So that's why I think it'll be high scoring. But Rodgers really has been impressive this year. I mean, if you look at the numbers, like, the big reason why this season's been a failure is not because of the offensive struggles. It's, the defense really just took a step back this year, unfortunately. But I mean, he's now up to 23 touchdowns on the year to 8 interceptions. Like, I think he might end up finishing the season with like 30 touchdowns and only less than 10 picks. So, looking back at it, we're like, hey, that's one of the best seasons a Jets quarterback's ever had. And, in what it's a lost season. But like, when you really look at the numbers, like he's been better. And, last week I know he ran for like almost 50 yards. So he looks more comfortable in the pocket here. So I think it will be a shootout, but I'm going to rock with us just, being the home team. And I'm in attendance. So, for the vibes. Yeah,
it'd be really messed up if you picked the Rams to come into MetLife and beat your Jets while you're in attendance. So I understand why you took that. I'm going to go with the Rams here. I wouldn't mind making this the big bet of the week, Reagan. You confident in your Jets?
No. No.
Yeah, okay. No. That's fair. I knew you weren't going to bite on that one.
I'll be sitting out in the cold all week, like at the game.
Oh, what? You just mentioned those California guys aren't used to the cold. You are. The Jets
are. I'm sitting in the cold, though. Like, bro, when they lose, I'm like, oh, I got lost the bet, and my team lost, and I'm fucking freezing. No.
That's fine.
You're not going to bait me into it.
I'll go with the Rams here. I just love Sean McVay. At this point of the season, I think they understand what's at stake. This is a game they understand they have to win in the playoff race in the NFC. Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, maybe Cooper Kupp shows up for work this day. We'll see. But I think this Rams offense is just going to do whatever they want to this Jets defense that really hasn't played up to their talent on paper. But, you can crumble up paper. It doesn't matter. The Jets, unfortunately, are a 4-10 team. They're not really playing for anything right now while the Rams are. So I'm going to take the team at only 3 points that has something to prove. Philadelphia at Washington. Washington 9-5. Philadelphia 12-2. The Eagles a 3.5-point favorite on the road. 45.5 point total here. Brian Robinson said he believes the Commanders are a better team. But the real question is, does Reagan Losher think the Commanders are a better team?
No, they're not a better team. Could they win? Sure, but I just feel like the Eagles, they've just been too good to, like, I just can't fade them. I can't. And I feel like that line, people are going to want to fade them, being like, oh, that seems like something's off. But I'm just gonna keep rolling with Philly. 3.5's not a high line, so it's just until they, show that they're vulnerable, which they really haven't recently. I can't fade them. Ride with the hot hand.
Yeah, I'm in agreement here. The one thing I'm looking out for is Barkley's dealing with a little something, he said. They really haven't disclosed what's going on. Barkley has historically dominated the Commanders. I'd argue this is his favorite matchup, and he's done it at Washington as well. So if Barkley's a full go, there's no doubt in my mind the Eagles cover this 3.5. Very confident in it. They're a better team. And, hey, even if he's not a full go, well, Jalen Hurts looked pretty damn good last week when he actually had to throw the ball more than 30 times. And I know this Washington secondary is much improved compared to years past, but still A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith is a different animal. So I think they can get it done through the air as well. And that Philadelphia offensive line will take control of this game. I do think this will be a high-scoring game, though. I think Jaden Daniels will make some big plays. I could see Brian Robinson definitely scoring in this one as well. But ultimately, through the air, I think Philadelphia can have more success than Commanders, and I also think Philadelphia in the ground can have more success. So give me the Eagles here. 3.5, a little too low for me.
Yeah, and honestly, what I saw from the Commanders last week, I didn't love letting the Saints come back in the game, but also like Jaden Daniels being sacked 8 times, like that is a big issue because the Eagles' defense is a lot better than the Saints, so they're going to capitalize on those mistakes. Like if you can't block for him, the Eagles got enough guys and talent that they're going to get back there and they're going to get him. So
100%. And the Commanders have struggled with top tier teams, right? They beat the teams they should beat, but they really have not performed as well against playoff caliber teams. I love the Eagles in a teaser play this weekend. Absolutely. If you can get the Eagles at like plus 3.5, flip it the other way. Oh my goodness. I think that's a smash play. Arizona at Carolina. The Cardinals a 5-point favorite over the 3-11 Panthers. Arizona at 7-7, still in the thick of things in that division. Potentially a wild card spot. Big game for them here. You are the Carolina Panthers. Man, dude, are you taking them again here?
I'm taking them to cover, but the Cardinals to win. Cardinals need this game bad. Panthers have been playing games tight outside of last week against the Cowboys, but I do think this is a close game. Could be high scoring because both defenses really aren't great, where, both offenses have been, well, obviously the Cardinals have been a pretty good offense. Recently struggling a bit, but I think this is a good matchup for them. And the Panthers, have definitely turned things around. So I think this ends up being high scoring. Ultimately, I took the Panthers to cover. I do think they'll get a backdoor cover, but I think the Cardinals will be in full control by the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I agree. Give me the Cardinals. Actually, I don't agree. Cardinals to win and cover. Cardinals to win and cover. It's just another situation. They got something to play for. The Panthers don't. And I think after last week, the Panthers getting the brakes blown off by Dallas. You could make an argument that Dallas is a better team than Arizona, but I think they're kind of in that same tier right now. I just can't. I can't take the Panthers, man. I can't sit here and take Carolina and feel comfortable with myself, although I like what I've seen for Bryce Young, and this is a good matchup for him. But, and I hate to say this because I'm going against James Conner in 2 semifinals matchups this weekend. James Conner is going to go nuclear against this Carolina defense. I know it's going to happen. I'm accepting it already. He's going to hang 25 fantasy points, and I know it. He's going to score, and I know it. But give me the Cardinals here. Minnesota at Seattle. The 12-2 Vikings are a 3-point favorite over the 8-6 Seattle Seahawks. 43.5 point total here. Big game here for Seattle. Minnesota just keeps on cruising right now. One of the hottest teams in football. I know we're both kind of Seattle haters here. I got Minnesota winning and covering. Do you?
I have Minnesota winning and covering. Yeah. They're just on fire right now. And, we don't even know if Geno's going to be playing. And, while I was saying I'd love to see Sam Howell get a chance, he did not look good when he came in last week. He looked very uncomfortable and just really couldn't move the needle. So maybe a full week of practice with the first team reps will change things. But right now, Minnesota's been playing well. They're still fighting not only for that division, but the 1 seed in the NFC. So I think they're going to get it done here in dominant fashion. I think this is going to be another one where it's like, hey, keep doubting us. Just keep doubting us. We're going to go out and kick the shit out of any team.
Yeah, I got Minnesota here for sure. I think Seattle's really going to struggle to contain Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson. Those 3 guys, ever since Hawkinson got back in the lineup, It's been really fun to watch. That offense is just high-powered right now. Darnold's dicing teams up. I don't care that's in Seattle. I really just I don't. And with Geno being compromised, if something were to happen and he exits and it is Sam Howell, how do you think he's going to look against a blitz-heavy Brian Flores defense? The guy already gets sacked a lot, right? That's what's going to happen here. I think Geno's going to get hit hard. No confidence in Sam Howell here. I think 3 points is kind of disrespectful by Vegas. Give me the Minnesota Vikings here all day. New England at Buffalo. The Bills, a 14-point favorites over the 3-11 Patriots. That's crazy. 46.5 point total here. I am going to take the Bills to cover the 14, although it's a divisional matchup. I do think Drake May can have a good day against his Bills defense, but the Bills aren't even punting right now, dude. Do we actually think the Patriots are going to slow down Josh Allen? I think the Bills score 30 here easily. Patriots don't have the firepower to keep up. Maybe they could sneak it back to recover, but I'm not banking on it. Give me the Bills by 2 touchdowns. Your thoughts?
I think this game's actually going to be a lot closer than people expect. I think it might come down to the fourth quarter. I know the Patriots don't have a lot of firepower in offense, but right now the Bills' defense has been Swiss cheese. So I do think Drake May will be able to do enough to at least cover the 14. I could see it being, like a 1-score game going into the fourth quarter, and then, Josh Allen just does Josh Allen things to get the win. But, it's just a lot of points for a division game. So, and Drake May's showing enough that, I do think he can keep him in. It's not like, it's Tommy DeVito against the Ravens. Drake May's a higher tier quarterback than a lot of these other quarterbacks we see starting for teams with this big of spread. So I think it's a little disrespectful, that line, especially for a division game. I don't care how good the Bills have been this year. That's a lot of freaking points for a division game when the Patriots have their starting quarterback.
Jacksonville 3-11 at the 2-12 Las Vegas Raiders. Easily the worst game on the slate. Raiders a 1.5 favorite here. This is disgusting.
Switched it.
This is disgustingly bad. Yeah, I just switched it, and I only switched it. I was going to go with the Jags because I do think they're a better team. As crazy it is to say. But I'm rooting for the Raiders purely for my Giants draft pick. So that's my reason. I'm taking the Raiders because I want to root for them. And that is it. There's no further explanation. This game sucks. I'm not watching this game this weekend. Why are you taking the Jags?
Honestly, I liked the way their offense looked last week against the Jets. Mac Jones was moving the ball. It seems like ever since Trevor came back and then got re-injured, Mac Jones has looked a lot better than he did in his first stint as the starter. So I think, he's just going to keep feeding his good weapons on offense. Brian Thomas, just keep getting him the ball here. So I think he will. Vegas, just put Max Crosby on IR, and he's kind of their identity. So that once gone to D-line, we were talking about coming into the year, doesn't have those guys. So I don't know. I just think the Jaguars will be able to get it done. I'm not confident in this pick, but I really do like, Mac Jones here in the Jags. So give him to me. I can see him winning by double digits. Call me crazy, but I can see a double-digit win here from the Jags.
I'm expecting Aiden O'Connell to be back in the lineup for the Raiders. Not that really gives him that big of a boost, but
no, it does. It does, because at least
certainly better than
he
Ritter.
Looks great against the Chiefs. He really did.
Yeah,
Desmond Ritter. I don't know if he ever even looked that good on the Falcons at any point.
True. San Francisco at Miami. Much better game on this 4:00 slate. The Dolphins a point favorite, a 44.5 total here. Both teams sitting at 6-8. Really, no chance that they make the playoffs. I don't believe. They need some big time help. Yeah, some big time help here. But still, this is a fun game for fantasy purposes and gambling purposes. I'm going San Fran to win and cover. I believe you are as well.
Yeah. Kyle Shanahan's not losing to his son. The master does not lose to the young Padawan, or whatever you want to say for you Star Wars fans out there.
That is true.
But yeah, no, I think Shanahan's going to show him why, you were my prodigy. You're not better than me. So it'll definitely be an interesting chess match here. And I think they'll both be trying to scheme up some funky plays to try to outduel each other. But I ultimately, do think the 49ers are the better team here, even with all their injuries. So I will take the Niners in a shootout. I think this does have a very good chance to be the highest scoring game on the week, though.
Yeah, 44.5 seems a little disrespectful, I guess, given how Miami looked last week. Not a lot of faith in the offense, but Yeah, I
Both
couldn't have
teams.
said I
I'd agree with that.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Shanahan is not going to lose to McDaniel here. I think Purdy has a good Purdy has a decent game. I think Garendo has a big game. I think you got to get this Miami team on the ground, and that's what I think is going to happen here. I think Tyreek Hill can have a big game. He only has one catch of over 30 yards this season. It was week 1. Imagine saying that in week 16 about Tyreek Hill, dude. That is crazy. So now that I said that, he'll probably catch a bomb this week.
I like that.
Yeah, which you'd love that, starting him in your lineups. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the master in Shanahan, not the Padawan in McDaniel. Tampa Bay at Dallas. The Bucs 8-6, Cowboys 6-8. The Bucs a 4-point favorite in Jerry's world with a 48.5 total. I like that number. That's a good total. Dallas has been playing some really good football recently. The Bucs also just steamrolled the Chargers last week. Where'd you land?
I landed with the Cowboys. I actually feel very confident in them getting the win here. I think they're going to get it done here. They've been playing good football. They should have beaten the Bengals a couple weeks ago, so I think they're pissed off about kind of how this season's gone, and they're going to take out some frustration on this Bucs team. And I do think Cooper Rush has another big game here, and CeeDee will go for over 100. He may even push 150 in this game, so I think a big game for him. It'll be interesting to see, what they can do running the football, because obviously the Bucs are regarded as one of the better run defenses. So, but I think that Dallas can really, make some problems for Baker in that offense, and just guard Mike Evans, and you should be able to win.
Well,
Mike Evans.
This is an easy choice for Big Bet of the Week because I'm very confident in Tampa Bay at the 4-point spread. Trayvon Diggs obviously just got knee surgery, out for up to 8 months. Not good for this Dallas defense. And I do agree with you 100%. I think CeeDee Lamb has a monster game. This Bucs secondary is nothing to write home about. That's how you get him. But Tampa Bay just hung 37 on the number 1 scoring defense in football. I'm going to bank on that offense with Mike Evans trying to get that 1,000-yard mark. Him and Baker are just dialed in right now. Bucky Irving's looked dominant on the ground in this Cowboys run defense. Really not that good, although it's improved since Micah Parsons gotten back. But Micah's going to draw Tristan Wirfs in this one. That's not an ideal matchup for him. I think Wirfs going to hold him down. Tampa Bay does enough on offense. I think they could score another 30 points here. I don't think Dallas will be able to keep up with Cooper Rush. Give me the Tampa Bay Bucs all day. Big bet of the week. And what are we doing for the big bet, Reagan?
Yeah, we're going to do some Christmas caroling. You're going to have to go up in we decided on the streets of Hoboken because it would be better. Instead of, also it'll probably be easier to film because then somebody could just, you can't really film it around here. It's a little bit harder. So streets of Hoboken, you're just going to have to, sing some Christmas carols, and it'll probably be after Christmas, which will make it even funnier because you'll be like, why the hell is this, guy all dressed up at a Christmas thing? I'm like, you also have to take it serious too. You can't just be like, yeah, I'm doing this as a punishment. Like, you got to play it off like it's legit and like you're here to sing carols.
Yeah, neither of us can sing, so this is a really tough punishment.
I might be able to. I like in my head, I feel like with enough practice, I could.
Bro, you have no rhythm. You cannot sing. You cannot dance. Get the hell out of here. I can't either. Like, I'm not one to talk. I'm just saying. No, that's enough. Moving on. Moving on to the Saints-Packers Monday Night Football. Really, this game.
Let it snow. Let it snow. Let it snow.
Maybe it snows in Lambeau Monday night, if that's what you're referring to. Hopefully not Christmas Carol. But, yeah, really the only implications for this game are everyone's sweating out their fantasy matchups on Monday Night Football. Me, hopefully, don't have to sweat it out. But Josh Jacobs has been a horse for me for a couple teams this year. So looking forward to this one. The 5-9 Saints are 14.5-point underdogs against the 10-4 Green Bay Packers. Tough for New Orleans with Rattler, I guess, going into Green Bay, Lambeau Field, night game. Man, I'm going to go with Green Bay to win and cover here. I don't see a world in which Josh Jacobs does not run for 100 and score here. He's been the catalyst of their offense. Jordan Love won't have to do too much here. The defense is going to suffocate Rattler. I think Packers win handily 24-7 here. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going the Packers here. This just seems like one that you don't want to overthink, honestly. Like, I just feel like the Saints don't got a whole lot going for them. I feel like this is going to be a blowout. Like, I could see Green Bay winning 30-6, and it's just like they were in control the whole entire game. And it's like, the third, fourth quarter, it's out of hands. It's like, well, the Saints might get that backdoor cover, and they just keep falling up short. Like similar to that Vikings-Bears game last week where it was just like, don't overthink it. Like the Vikings are the better team, and they kind of just controlled the whole game, and the Bears had, their fair share of opportunities where the Vikings were playing prevent, but they just still couldn't get it in.
Yeah, and Josh Jacobs in the fourth quarter against the Saints' run defense has been very poor since October. I don't see how they slow him down in Lambeau Field. No shot. That wraps up our Week 16 predictions. We appreciate you sticking with us. Definitely a longer pod tonight. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Going to be a great weekend of football. Any last words, my friend?
Hey, let's go get in those fantasy championships, everybody. Come on now. Time to get it done. This is where money is made. Belts are won. Banners are hung. Yeah.